My name, because I think I'm going through a name change.
You think you're going through a name change? Well, that occurs. That occurred very much in the Bible. I can tell you that right now. So, basically, what name are we looking at? The last name? Is that what you're talking about, or you want to change your first name?
Yes. So I would need to tell you a little bit of the background.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay. So I have my birth name that I used up until I graduated from college, and I worked in corporate for like 4 months, and then when I moved into entertainment, I switched to using my middle name as my last name, and I used that for 16 years.
Okay.
And then what happened was, well, maybe not that long, but I don't know, maybe 10 years or something. And then I changed to my spiritual name, a soul name. And now I'm going back into corporate, and so you need sort of, quote, like a real name. I can't use my spiritual name. It's not right.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
So I have been sort of playing with the idea of going back to my birth name, and I feel kind of like set on doing that, but I have some hesitations because when I'm working in corporate, if they happen to Google my middle name, that's the name I come to my spiritual work over the years.
Right.
My the other stuff that I do, if they want help with that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
you
really
came to
feel
right. You came to the right place. I've talked to so many celebrities over the years. I've worked in television myself, and basically my background is names and vibrations of names, and I've had quite a lot of people call me about this, okay? And it's a very interesting thing because our identity is very important, and also the vibrations of our name are very important, okay? So I think you came to the right place, the right table.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you that.
Oh, that's why I'm speaking
to you
about it.
You're very intelligent, very intelligent. Okay, let's start out with the birth name, and give me the birth name, and I'm going to look at that vibration. What is the birth name?
Okay, so I feel a little bit weird giving it on the air. Can I just give the first initial?
You want to do it
or
privately?
Is that not...
Okay. Well,
okay.
What do you feel? What do you feel comfortable with? Okay. Basically, let me explain something. Every letter in the alphabet. Not only looking at the vibrations of the letters, how it's written and how it's used, and also how you have used it. Okay. So we're looking.
You know what? I'll give it to you. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, it's a dimensional thing. Now, another thing that is applied to this is numerology. Okay. When you made your choices, did you consider the numerology to each letter of the name, the number code? Did you consider any of that?
I have not. I've just been thinking about your meanings of it.
Well, the meanings are there too. But see, I do it on a dimensional level, okay? I look at everything about it. When I'm working with a celebrity who is using a name, for instance, I work with corporations that are trying to change their name. And we use certain techniques that a marketing technique, and it sounds like that's what you want to work with, a marketing technique. Because when you go into the world in corporate, you want a name that is going to fit the area with the identity, and that's what you've got going on in your mind, right?
Yeah, well, it feels like I should go back to the K name, which is my birth name. But
that's a spiritual letter. That's right. Yeah, that's the spiritual letter.
My concern with it is that if people get to know me with that last name, then they're not going to know my spiritual work at all. I just thought that maybe there would be some crossover of, hey,
Well, here's the thing. When I worked with corporate, when I was a handwriting expert for the courts and all, people sent me written handwriting when they were hiring people, okay, so that I could do the personality analysis, skills, gifts, and talents, and so forth, so they could hire the correct people. Many people in corporate are still doing that with written resumes and using the cursive handwriting analysis. Now, that was a very interesting business that I was in. So if we're going to talk about a corporate name that's going to be used, we have to observe corporate. That's the identity being used. If you're in a spiritual area, you would use the spiritual name, and that's what you did. You moved because you had certain emotional feelings. You didn't even have understanding of the code. But then again, you wanted to present yourself as a spiritual person, okay? Now, my name is not Brenda Bradshaw, okay? That's not my name. That's my celebrity name, okay? And I chose that for many reasons, okay? And
I thought that was your husband's name.
It was my first husband's name, but not my second husband's name, nor is it my maiden name, okay? So you see,
I know
names,
what your maiden name is.
Yeah, well, names can change like you changed yours to whatever identity. And I was identified when I first went on the radio as Brenda Bradshaw, and I was married at that time to Bradshaw, and that stayed with me. The vibration stayed with me. So when I got married a second time, I went into the radio station. They wouldn't let me change my name. The radio station said, no, you're Brenda Bradshaw. They know you as that. So you cannot go to that other name, even though you're married. That's your married name. So you see, they are going to say certain things, and then you're going to, well, that's your identity. Whatever your identity is, yeah, go ahead.
Well, there's two things that I also want to share because I thought was sort of interesting of what happened that I realized this last week is because I've been thinking about this for like 2 weeks now. And what I realized this week was that I was almost set on going back to my birth name, and it dawned on me that the last time I worked in corporate again when I first graduated college, I was using that was the last time that I used this last name. I haven't used it for 16 years. So I thought that was interesting that I was being drawn back to the birth name. But then, so I was almost certain, okay, I'm going to go back to this name. But then this week, I was finishing up this sort of temp job, contract job that I was doing, just like greeting people at a convention. And people started asking me what my name was, and this one guy kept on calling me by the last name of, how I used to go by spiritually before I changed to my soul name. But
because see, he associates with that identity. I understand that. See, they will do that. And so that's what they were telling me about when I was in radio and television. They said, no, you have to stay with whatever people associate you with doing the type of business that you're doing. You see, what is it? What do they call typecasting? Kind of like, it's a typecast, a stereotype. You know what I mean? It falls in that category of the subconscious. But yet, it does become a vibration also. Okay? You're Karen, right? Yeah. You're Karen? Yeah, okay, I understand. But Karen, basically, you're not Karen.
That's my first
not
initial,
your name.
Yeah, my first is B, like you, but K was my last name, birth name.
Okay, it's the last name, okay.
Yeah.
I knew there was a K in there somewhere. I knew there was a K in there somewhere. But the K is the spiritual area of the alphabet. The reason I'm saying that is because I want to bring up Karen, because she's coming to me right now, okay? Whoopi Goldberg, her name is Karen. Isn't that amazing? Now, only people call her Karen is her sisters and family. But the world calls her Whoopi Goldberg, okay? That's not her name.
Right.
So that changes a picture, doesn't it?
I used to have that. I used to have that when I went by my middle name, but it doesn't. My middle name doesn't feel right anymore as my full name. It doesn't.
Yeah, no,
I don't identify with
it's so interesting because I always think about that birth name, and Catholics also have a name that they give you. When you go for your, when you finish the catechism and all that, they give you a name. So these name things are identities. They're identities, okay? We understand that.
Yeah.
So whatever identity you want to choose and whatever associated with the identity that you choose, okay? So what you're looking at is you're going back into corporate. Now, you know very well, like you said at the beginning of the conversation, that they're going to Google the name. They're going to Google, because that's what they do. They check out on the criminal records and all that on a name. Okay? So what name do you think is totally right for it? Whatever you're thinking, this is the right name to use for this particular job or arena or environment. You can do that. You can change it as you move into the environment. 16 years you were in a certain environment. Okay? 20 years or whatever you were in the other environment. And I think, and I got to tell you this, I think a lot of people do this. This is not just something that we came up with, okay?
Oh, yeah,
This whole thing has changed so much. There are many people now that we know are getting married, women are getting married, and keeping their own last name. And you know, by law, they can do that. By law. In fact, at any point, if I want to, I can go back to my maiden name. Since my first husband and I are divorced, my second husband has passed away, I've been told by Social Security I can go to any one of those names I want to go to. So there you go.
Well, I still feel, okay. So I feel like I'm leaning towards the birth name to go back to.
Okay.
But my concern with that is that when I did use it, because I did like a corporate contract several months ago, I used my last name, but I had sort of like a dispute with the people I was working with. And then I felt very vulnerable and sort of afraid that they actually knew my real last name, because for many years I was just going by my middle name. So there's that. It makes me feel really vulnerable.
Well, I feel, okay, I had that same emotional thing too. Okay, now we have to understand our emotions here for a second. Okay, we have, the emotions are only with you. Any emotion that arrives within us is ours. We claim it.
Yeah.
Okay? Because when I go down to my rental office, people, they call me by that name I do not like, because that person is gone, and I'm more of this name, Brenda Bradshaw. But they won't accept my celebrity name. They have to accept the name on my Social Security. And I get irritated. Now, that's me. That's my emotions. Okay? And I told them, I said, listen, just call me Brenda Bradshaw. Oh, no, we can't do that. You have to go by this name. But you see, I get emotional, and I've dealt with that. So I want you to come to that right now. It's whatever you claim you are. It is your identity of who you are. Any outside person who doesn't approve of it, you know, or doesn't want to call you that, and the emotions that's stirring in them about it, and you take it into your reality, you don't need their approval. And I had to come to that. It has been something with me for many years. So I came to this point. This is where you got to come to. It's my emotions that are given the problem here. That's what it is. It's your own emotions. You don't supposed to seek other people's approval. Oh, well, you got to go by that name or da-da-da-da-da. Because certainly we know our own identity. It's not important that other people know our identity. Not important. But that's the flip side. Here's the other side of the coin. Okay, there's two sides. Remember that. The other side of the coin is you have to be satisfied. Okay? And then I came to that reality. I'm very satisfied with being Brenda Bradshaw on the radio in celebrityhood. Very satisfied with being the other name for Social Security. I can see it now. But before I had the emotional thing that came in. Now that's where you are. You're right on the emotional line, okay? And you have to say, okay, this is who I am here, this is who I am. Okay, I'm going to not separate them. I am all those things. You see? See, the separation idea comes through our emotions. Because I felt separated from who I was, Brenda Bradshaw, to who they were calling me. That's what you're going through. Exactly what I just did this about a month ago. And it's taken me that many times because we go through this doing the name change by working different jobs, and you know what I'm saying. But we fight and we resist our own identity. In fact, I talk to people about identity. Who are you? And many people don't even know who they are. And I'm not even asking for their birth name or the names they're called by sometimes. They don't even have any idea of their real identity. I am a child of God. That's all you really are, but the other identities you have chosen to use. Okay, tell me. Go ahead.
I think I've made my decision. I guess it hasn't fully settled because my birth name feels more grounded than this other name I was using. But
okay.
the one thing that keeps pulling me back is just that if they happen to meet, they won't be exposed to my spiritual work at all. And
okay, so that's the outside. That's look at it. That's the outside. You do not need their approval. You do not.
No, it's not their approval. It's not their approval.
Okay, what is it? What is it?
It's that if I happen to be teaching a training or a workshop or whatever in corporate or doing some consulting, it's sort of nice that they can see, oh, well, she also helps people with personal relationships, and maybe I would get a client that way.
You can state that. And exactly this is what I do when that situation comes up, okay? Now, I go down to Edgar Casey, and I go to Psychic Fairs. I'm Brenda Bradshaw because that's my celebrity name. That's my reader name. Now, if I am working with Social Security, I don't walk in Social Security and say, I'm Brenda Bradshaw. They don't know her. They don't know anything about her. It's not important that they know because that particular area, they need my name for my second husband, okay? But I understand this thing that you got because I have it, and I've talked to many other people. Celebrities have the biggest problem with it, okay? And you happen to have a celebrity hood going on with that identity, okay? Your spirituality, you were working, is a calling, and that's what Brenda Bradshaw is, a calling name. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's a calling, and that's your desire to have that. But you don't want to feel the confusion. And we go back to your emotions again. Remember, there is no confusion in you. There's no confusion in me. I know who I am. Like I said, when it really comes down to it, I'm a child of God. If they can't respect that one part, they certainly can't respect Brenda Bradshaw or the other names that I've had, you know. So, or even the titles. I'm a handwriting expert for the courts in Virginia. I'm the first woman deemed an expert in the courts of Virginia under Brenda Bradshaw. Why would I not be anything else when I was doing that? But then again, other things that I have done, I've been Brenda whatever. I'm not going to say the other name. But here's the thing about it. I didn't say, what do you think? What do you think my name should be? I never asked anybody that. And because I had so many people coming to me who asked that question, I began asking myself, okay, that's how it works. Okay, that's what you're doing now. You're saying it now out on the airways, so other people now are bringing that. You're inspiring people to question the identity. You see what you're doing?
I do know what I'm doing.
That.
I just wish I had
more clarity. You know what you're doing, but you're not
Yeah.
doing it for you. We don't do things like that for ourselves personally. We're doing it for the other people who are having those same questions. This is your spirituality that's coming out right now. And you're not asking for approval from anybody. You basically just wanted to know. It's not really a big question. Like you said, you're settling yourself. And that's okay, because we do that. But we have to go outward first for confirmation that we're doing it, that we're actually having an experience with something. It's like seeking approval. Nothing wrong with that. But it's seeking approval through spirit, not seeking approval like, Brenda, don't judge me, you know, and I'm not going to, because I've already been where you are. And that usually is the case. That usually is the case when you go into the person that you say, oh, she knows about that. Of course I do. Been there, done that. And you have been there, done that now, and everybody listening now, okay, understand this, has gained wisdom that you brought to the table. So whatever you decide, we're going to all agree with you. I'm going to agree with you. We're going to confirm you're thinking right because you're out there. This may even be a prophecy that came to you. It may not even be involved with you. That happens all the time to me. It may not be something going on in me.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm going to have to decide. I wanted to have some more time to decide what name I was going to use, and then all of a sudden this guy keeps calling me by that name that I just... The other thing, too, is it feels like it's sort of like an unveiling because
Well, exactly. It is. It is a revealing in something. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Go ahead.
Because I was using my first and middle name up until 2005, and then I started using my soul name, which is just, I'm not going to say what it is.
And every time you did that, you did that for a purpose inside yourself.
Well, it felt very right, and it felt organic. But
I understand. Gotcha.
But now, if I go back to my birth name, then it's sort of like people never knew what my real name was, and I guess I somewhat don't really feel comfortable for the spiritual community. I'm not going
to go back to my birth name. I have on several occasions to point something out. My birth name is Anderson, and I'm in the tree. My ancestor is Hans Christian Andersen. Okay. Now, when I did my writing, for instance, on children's books and children's things on YouTube, I'm going to claim Hans Christian Andersen as my relative. Okay. But that's the only reason, because it's my ancestor. Okay. It's a good name too, and really seriously, we may bring up our birth name for different reasons, but it is not something that I use. I have never said, okay, this is who I am. I had to in school and that type of thing using the birth name, but as soon as I got married, I was glad to get rid of that name.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's how I've always been.
Oh, yeah.
But now,
you move on. Okay.
But now I feel like, it always felt very private. That was my personal life.
Exactly.
That was private.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Exactly.
Right,
our birth name.
Now, what I'm saying is that I feel like maybe I should be going back to that name because the other name I was using doesn't feel necessary. It feels like I'm lying by saying that that's my name, and it feels like
you know where you keep going. You're trying to draw me in, aren't you? Okay, you're trying to get me into your emotion. No. Your clarity is not in the emotion. It's not there. Your clarity is in your reasoning, in your logic. That's not. When we talk about how I feel this, I feel that. You're talking about your emotions. I cannot come into your emotions. I can only come into your logical reasoning. I'm not talking about your ego either. I'm talking about your fears and your doubts that you're creating through your emotions. And if you continually do that, what you're doing is drawing me in, and I won't go there. I will not go into an emotional thing with you. Because
so where
that's not my job.
Stay? Can you say it in a different way?
You should be your own identity without anybody's approval.
Mm-hmm.
I said that.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you feel emotionally, that's tied into it because you are emotional, but you have to get a hold of the emotion and not seek anybody's approval outside of you. That you don't draw people into your emotions, especially in corporate. In corporate, they do not have an emotional thing at all. They don't have a spiritual thing at all. You can go into that job and do that job, and you can do many jobs at one time. Everybody can. But you have to understand your identity and how you associate to the identity that you've taken, the hat that you're wearing, so to speak. So if you're talking about emotion, I got to give up on you. I got to say, no, I can't go there not one more time right now because I'm feeling the tension and resistance in my own emotions. And that's where you're drawing me. Now, you don't mean to. But that's you. That's you. And you don't need me to say you don't need to do it. What you need to do is go to your reasoning. Stop doubting yourself. Stop creating fear emotion. You can do this. Okay?
Right, well, then that's what I have to clear, which is kind of
clear
what I
it.
knew. Yeah,
clear
okay.
it. You already know the answer. You're looking for confirmation. You're not looking for emotional support. You don't need emotional support. And I don't give emotional support because emotional support is something that you can do yourself. You can say, oh, yeah, Brenda, I'm okay. I know what I'm going to do. Thank you for talking to me. That's what you need to do. If you're going around seeking somebody to come into your emotions and change them, they ain't going to be able to help you because that's something they can't understand. They may say, oh, I feel for you, but they don't feel for you. They don't know what you're going through. They haven't got a clue. I know what's going on. You got a brain. You're using your logic. You're trying to reason this whole thing out. That's what's going on. Okay?
Yeah, I guess it just kind of bothers me that it hasn't settled yet. I think that's what it is.
Well, that's up to you, too. That's up to you. You're a co-creator. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Co-creators, they don't wait for something to settle. They co-create the settling. Oh, yeah, it's settled, Brenda. I know what I'm going to do. You go to the I am moment. You make your I am affirmations. The emotions are put aside. I know who I am. I know what's best for me. Nobody else knows what's best for you, honey. Nobody knows you like you know you. Nobody does. Nobody knows me. Somebody come to me and say, I don't think your name is that. I say, well, excuse me. I've been using that name for so many years, and that's who I am. I'm Brenda Bradshaw. And I'll claim it every time, and I don't care. I really don't care if they don't believe me because I'm not emotional about it, not anymore. It's my name. It's who I am. Somebody says, I say I'm a child of God. They said, prove it. I said, I don't have to. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. Just me, myself, I, God, we got it. That's how it works, honey. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You're okay.
I know, yeah. I hear what you're saying. It settled. It was very clear to me when I did the second name change. Very clear.
Fine.
Even the first
Thank you very much. I've got a lot of callers,
yeah.
honey. Thank you very much. We're not going back around again. You've got